YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, Cosmic Orgasm, the science, Tantra, the science of esoteric. First of all, we have to understand what does this word esoteric means. Esoteric means secret. A word that is used for it is known as Delphian school. In England, there is a school called Delphian. It is a unique school. It has its unique curriculum and it teaches the students how to teach themselves. Not ordinary curriculum, not ordinary kind of teaching. Teaching the students how to teach yourself. When I was growing up, my father used to teach us. He never gave us direct answers. He extracted the answers out of us. For instance, whether it is the words, their present, past and past participle form, or finding out the answer to a question. So this is the way of Upanishads. The teacher tells the students you have to remain in an environment in that many things that were covering the real manifestations vanish and one gets the answer from within. So this is kind of a effect that is in that school Delphian. You can check that school. Their system of teaching is how to teach the students to teach themselves. So this esoteric means secret and knowledge or something which is intended for a specialized group of people, only they can understand. So when science of esoteric is at 3 levels. The first level is at the level of the enlightened ones. So one enlightened one is explaining it to the other, and he need not go into practical. Like 2 computer experts, IT experts, talking among themselves. They do not have to give the practical experience or anything. They can just give the few pointers and you will understand. Whereas my IT person tells me to do this and I have to figure out because I am not an expert. So you can understand what happens. So at the level of esoteric, the science of Tantra was communicated by Shiva to Devi. Just as the Bhagavad Gita is the science of esoteric, at that level, Krishna spoke to Arjuna, it is said. There are 700 verses added many a times, but these were not the verses in the actual script. So Master looks at it, it is a silent communion between the Master and the disciple. Krishna did not say anything, Arjuna did not ask, and the questions are answered. This is how the Diamond Sutra, communion between Buddha and Mahakashyap happened. Buddha and Subhuti happened. The Heart Sutra between Subhuti and another monk happened. And Anand says that, thus I have heard. So Vedavyas, through his intuitive vision, envisioned the entire silent communion, gave it a form that came to be known as Bhagavad Gita. If you look at it, one verse will take X amount of time to chant, 700 verses, and the war has begun, the sirens has been blown. Arjun tells he sees the vast army of the enemies, his cousins. He gets frightened. He tells Krishna to carry his chariot between the two armies so he can get a clear view of the people who are desirous to fight. Krishna tells him that when the sirens have already blown, there is no question of returning. So during that time, Krishna narrates the message of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. It was a silent communion. So between the master and the disciple is always a silent communion. The master creates a situation, the answer springs forth from deep within the seeker. So between Shiva and Devi, his consort, this happened a silent communion. How it happened? Shiva is sitting in meditative posture. Devi sits on his lap with her head bent looking towards Shiva, and Shiva looks at her, and entire message is communed. All the sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra is communed, but this level of esoteric you cannot understand. So it has to come down to a second level. The second level where it is written. The sutras are written. They are Sanskrit sutras. So who did it? Neither Shiva nor Devi. Who composed it as Bhagavad Gita was composed by Vedavyas afterwards. It was, when you look at the Bhagavad Gita, if you go into the end of the last chapter, the end of each chapter, it says, Iti Shri Bhagavad Gita Su Brahma Vidyayam. So many Brahma Vidya, it is the secret knowledge. Shri Krishna Arjun Samvad, a communion between Arjun and Krishna. And then the level of love between Krishna. So all that I will explain to you at another time. So this is just an introduction now. So Shiva explained that. So at that level of esoteric, only Devi understood it. Then it was penned, written. So that was the sages, the enlightened masters who wrote it and made it available to the people. Then there were a set of people who gave it a philosophical interpretation for various reasons, for business purposes, and so a philosophical interpretation was given, but still you can know it philosophically, but technically you will not know. You know all the theory, but you do not know how to enter into. This is how at this level Vigyan Bhairav Tantra really happened. At a level of, this is why it is science of esoteric, meant only for few people who have really understood. Like for instance, the Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. During his lifetime, only a few people understood it. Now various interpretations are given. The Holy Quran is a communion between science. It is also the aspect of esoteric between Hazrat Paighambar sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a state of meditativeness, which is said Allah gave him the alham or message. Only he understood it. But there are so many interpretations of this by Maulanas, Muftis, and all of them, but all of them are conflicting. So unless you reach to the level of Hazrat Paighambar sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or if you have to understood Hazrat Paighambar sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have to have your consciousness at the level of Hazrat Shah Bahauddin Naqshband Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu. Less than that, it will not work, and you will not be able to understand that at all. This is important for you to understand that. So, from that point of view, I gave a little introduction of it. So, when we think in terms of duality, because the life is dualistic, there is the 2 feet are necessary, day and night are necessary, male and female are necessary, but out of this duality is the instrument through which you have to arrive at harmony. But mind can only think in terms of duality. So we use the 2 poles, dawn and dusk. When day comes to an end, there is parting knell of the days, which Thomas Gray writes in his famous poem, Elegy Written in the Country Churchyard. When it is the darkest before night, before dawn, that is an indication that it is going to be the daybreak now. So when morality comes to an end, immorality or the other is the beginning. And when you complete the 2, it is a 24-hour circle. Tantra is beyond the duality, beyond the male and female, that which is neither moral nor immoral. We know only these 2 words. However, when the dusk is coming, when the dawn is coming, it is the merger, it is neither the day nor the night. One is giving way to the other. It's like you are working as a security guard. Your shift is finishing, the other is beginning. So during that time, all the activities cease, because one set of security guards giving their shift, transferring their everything to the next shift, which is going to take place for next 8 hours or so. So when morality, it is neither morality nor immorality, it is amoral. It is a science. And science is neither of the 2. Your moralities and concepts concerning moral behavior are irrelevant as far as Tantra is concerned. We say that this is right, this is wrong, positive and negative. But when it comes to the 2 terms, positive and negative, in electricity, they are not conflicting, instead they are complementary to one another. You are told in the science of philosophy that you have to be always positive. Remove the negative from your life. Let there be positive, everything, positive intent, positive thinking. But can you say, can an electrical engineer say that your bulb will light only when you are positive, but negate the negative? No, it is through the union of the two, when the two neutralize one another, that there is illumination. And that illumination happens only when the two neutralize one another. So Tantra is that when you go beyond the duality, male, female, positive, negative, that can become way of your life. The science of Tantra, the science of esoteric, means everything in life you understand that it happens only when you go beyond the duality. When you go beyond the duality of the left foot and the right foot, you reach the destination. If you remain in conflict between the left and the right foot, which I should move first, which I should not move, and the left foot decides that I am not going to cooperate with the right foot, or vice versa, you cannot cover the distance. In order to do that, the same thing happens in sex or male-female relation. There is both Shiva and Parvati, they are physically mature, intellectually mature, and both of them are enlightened. And when both of them are enlightened, then they are, in your terminology, they are both IT personals, both expert in making websites or in Apple products. So they understand each other's language, technical terms, and everything. So Shiva and Parvati understand that very much. And this distinction between morality and immorality, between the pairs of opposites, has to be understood deeply. Only then you can go beyond that. You know very well in electric socket, the positive and negative, both this should be of the same magnitude in order to neutralize. And then if one is flickering, then there will not be illumination. Now you should be what you should be. Therefore, morality is basically a kind of conditioning that we all have. It has been given to you. You are neither the ideals nor you are the condemned. There is nothing like you are an ideal person or you are condemned. So morality is a conditioning. Every morality creates a guilt in you if you are going to do something which is not within that conditioned behavior. When you are not able to fulfill that, guilt comes into you. Many times this guilt comes between male and husband and wife. If the wife is not able to get the fulfillment, or husband is not able to give that, there comes a guilt feeling. Perfection, we are aspiring for perfection. Perfection means the end of the journey. After that, the other side begins. You can never reach the ideal. You are always lacking behind. You are always in the process. The gap will always be there because the ideal is impossible to reach. And through morality, it becomes more and more impossible. The idea is there, somewhere in the future, and you are here, this very moment, not in the future. The idea, the ideals you achieve only in future, but you are now and here. And you go on comparing, you are never a perfect man. Perfection means the end. After that, there can be no further growth. Something is always lacking. You do something, you know there is something there. This could have been this way or that way. You are making a particular dish and you finish. Something else needs to be done to that which you forgot completely. Then you cut a sorry finger or you feel guilty. There comes a feeling of self-condemnation. This is the normal way when we live our life on a day-to-day basis. Somewhere or the other, we are not taught to take this natural. It is quite natural that when you are making something, you may forget this or that. So there are options, there are ways and means to correct that. Tantra is against any kind of self-condemnation, because if you condemn yourself, how can there be transformation? When you continue to condemn yourself or the other, then it is not, transformation is not possible. The purpose in life, the goal, what is the life for? To attain to transformation, not perfection. As you are now, how to transform that? The bud transforms itself into the flower. Flower spreads its beauty for some time, fragrance, its magnanimity, then its petals fall, and the flower becomes the fruit. And the fruit, after it is consumed, it transforms itself into the seed. The seed germinates, transforms itself into a plant, and the process of growth and the transformation continues. So the process of growth and transformation are together. Condemnation creates a hypocrisy. Then you try to pretend, to show that you are what you are not. This is what hypocrisy is. This always happens with us. Hypocrisy means you are not the real man. There is shortcoming in me, and if you accept your shortcoming, then there comes a possibility of improvement or shortcoming. If you continue to pretend that no, I don't have any shortcoming or problem, then it becomes difficult. Hypocrisy means you are not the real person, not the idea, but you pretend. In reality, this is what you are. You are full of lust, let us say, for example. But you have been conditioned that lust is wrong. So it will get suppressed in you, and it will surface in any other form. Yesterday I was completing a chapter on anger, but I put it as a waving, anger waves. What happens? The modern science says there is matter. Earlier on, the concept was, the understanding was matter. But now the science says it is not matter, it is different configurations of energy and energy waves. You see diamond and coal. They are different configurations of energy. So all the elements that are there in periodic table, they are different configurations of the energy. So one becomes helium, the other becomes oxygen, and copper, other elements that are there in the periodic table. So anger comes, there is an emotional level. It erupts at the emotional level or emotional body. If you go beyond the emotional body is part of your physical body. If you go beyond that astral body or sukshma sharir, there are only waves. Anger comes in the form of waves. And then by the time it reaches there, it becomes like a volcanic eruption. So in the same way, there is the energy is there. So hypocrisy comes, it means you are not real, not the ideal. You pretend, trying to show that you are ideal. The ideal is what you want to be, and that is always future oriented. And this brings a split in you. You have a false face. The uncultured man is born out of you. Tantra is basically against this. It is the search for the real man, not the unreal. So you have to understand that there is only energy, and your various emotions, they are energy configurations. Anger, love, hate. How does hate suddenly transforms into love and love transforms into hate? You are loving to one person, and then all of a sudden you find that the love has transformed into hate. It is the energy configuration. Certain things happened, and the same energy it is in oxygen. The balance of oxygen is 2. So we say O2. If we say O, there is only one valency. That means it is nascent oxygen. If it has to stay in a stable form, it has to have the double bond or something. When you go into the organic chemistry or inorganic, you will understand that O2 is a stable configuration. So sometimes it happens, anger becomes not a permanent configuration. It stays only for a short period of time and then vanishes. So Tantra is basically against anything that is conditioned. It is search for the real man out of what you are, and looks at your shortcomings and then tries to correct those. In Zen, it is said, the word is used, have you discovered your original face? Which is similar to this way of Tantra. To say that, have you discovered your original face, or search for the real man, not the unreal. We'll continue in tomorrow's session. Until then, take care and do have a pleasant day.